Welcome, everybody, to a New Year's Eve special Get the Word Out edition with my friend Nick Marshall, who is running for state senate. He is a wonderful human being, and he would be such a fantastic addition to the state senate to make laws for our state. He is up against a guy named Chris Garten, who last week, it was last week or 2 weeks ago, posted AI generated pictures of himself beating up Santa. Yeah, it's weird. We're gonna get into that, the whole story about it. What did he do it on purpose? What was the point of it? And then let's find out a little bit about his voting record, and let's find out about Nick, who's a really wonderful human. He actually grew up in the foster care system, and he's got a lot of empathy for children that have needs, children that don't always aren't born with the best parents or have, they can't take care of their children. And this is a real issue affecting many Hoosiers. So let's get into it. And then let's just get the word out about Nick Marshall. And, we need to help him so that we can help him get elected. Nick, how are you today? Thank you so much for joining us on New Year's Eve.
Oh, and happy New Year's Eve, everybody, and hope you have a safe and happy New Year. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm really glad we got to do this. We've been talking about it for a while. I'm so glad we are doing this now. Okay, so let's talk about the story, and then let's like dive into who you are. So Nick, you're running for state house. Like, we're gonna file soon. I'm actually filing, I think, next week. Are you filing next week? Are you?
We are going to try to file, but we have been very busy with this story.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So yeah, we're about ready to file. I'm running for state house. You're running for state senate. We're not in the same district, but we're neighboring districts. So that's nice. We see each other at certain events and things. Okay, so go into this story. I first saw it when Destiny Wells posted it, and I was like, what is going on? And then it started popping up on more things. And then I saw it got tied to you, and I was like, oh, this is the guy Nick Marshall is running against. So take me through this story, and I can pull up the pictures of the AI generated beating up Santa pictures.
Yes. So my opponent, who is the state senator for District 45, which is all of Clark, a little bit of Floyd, and just like you on Christmas, opening gifts with my children, and I got a ping on my phone, and my first thoughts was this was a joke, and then as I started to look, it actually was serious. It turned to sad, and then I realized this was a stunt. So I'm sitting there thinking, I've got to shield my children from this, but I've got to alert people to what's going on. But then it hit me. I started to think about all the people I've talked to for the past months, spending hours on the phone with individuals in District 45, asking them, how can I help and what's going on? And they're telling me about their daycares that are shutting down due to the vouchers being cut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm seeing the long lines in the food pantry, mobile food pantries, and the food pantries that they're having in downtown Jeffersonville, in Utica, and New Albany. And that's all I could think about, because people are going through a tough time during the holiday season, not only financially, but emotionally too, because there's somebody not there enjoying that Christmas with them. So
I just want to point that out. That's something unique about you that I really appreciate. You care about those that are suffering. You care about the hungry. You care about the kids that don't wake up to a bunch of Christmas presents. You are worried about people's well-being, and you're seeing at the state level cuts being made, making their lives harder. They're making wealthy people's lives easier. The people that need our help and their support the most, making it harder. And so you're frustrated that here, and it was on Christmas Day, this post.
Yes.
Yeah.
Christmas Day.
So I get your frustration, because I would want my representatives to be trying to just take care of Hoosiers, especially those struggling. And like, you get it, Nick, if we help those that are struggling the most, that makes our communities safer. So even if you don't come at it through an empathetic, I want to feed people that are hungry, but if you think of it as, I want my family to be safe, the best way to make your family safer is to protect and take care of your community, your neighborhood.
Yes. And that's the thing too. You just start to think about, I think about my past, and I will get into that a little bit later, but how people can be supported and get them through the tough times. And this is not steady leadership. People are going through a bad time, and so they need someone that's going to be able to say, "I've got you." Okay, if you need to put a warm meal on your table, we can do that. If you need assistance with a bill, or we make sure that you don't lose your home or get evicted, or if you, God forbid, that you might get sick, with healthcare going on, the situation that you don't have to choose between a bill and a meal. You don't have to choose between when a daycare closes, that you might have to go to work because you have to watch you can't go to work
So
because you have
you're
to watch the
saying
child. Yeah.
this guy maybe on Christmas Day could have used a post about, if you don't have a place to go to get a Christmas meal, here is some churches that are doing events in your district. Here are some local nonprofits feeding people. You're saying maybe our state senators should use their voice to help people. And so you're frustrated that it was a joke instead of, no, people are suffering right now.
Yes. And
Yeah,
so,
let's
yeah, that's what I do. I use my platform, and I use what the Lord has given my talents and my reflection from my background to go help. And so we have an opportunity at this time, during the holiday season, during the New Year's, to make things right. And so that's what I use my platform for. There are individuals, grandparents that take on their grandchildren, I've met with, and they are wanting some supports to help them, because not only are they dealing with losing their child, or their child is incarcerated due to opioid issues, but they're
Oh,
now
this is such a problem in our
yeah,
state.
and
Yeah.
now they're taking on their grandchildren. So now they've got to not only go through education, they've got to figure out how to get Medicaid. They've got to make sure that they can put food on the table, because they're retired now, and so they have to make sure their income and their budgets are balanced. So this is an opportunity to be like, okay, hey, if you're needing a meal, or you're needing shelter for a certain amount of time during the code season, please go to these places. Use your platform that is going to help build up the community. And we've seen individuals, when they get those resources, if they need it once or twice. I've had a family come back to us when we were helping at the soup kitchen, tell us one day, hey, this is the last time you're going to see us, which is great news, because we got a home, we got a good job.
Oh,
And so now, with all that support that we did and poured into them, that family is stable. So this is an opportunity to make those families stable and whole. And that's what we have to do, as true leadership, is point to a brighter light out of that darkness.
yeah. I'm going to pull up the original post. So this is Christmas Day. And this is Chris Garten, who's been state senator for 2 terms.
That
So
is correct.
it'll be 8 years total. And so this is his Christmas post. When you find out the North Pole is trying to bring more bureaucratic overreach and unfunded mandates down the chimney disguised as Christmas cheer, not on my watch. We the people run Indiana, not the bureaucrats. Take it back to the North Pole, big guy. Merry Christmas, Hoosiers. So that's the post, and I have pictures a little bit bigger here so you can see it. So this is AI generated. He's is he really that muscly, Chris, or did he make himself bigger?
I'm not touching that
Not
one.
Chris, Nick. I mean,
I'm not touching that one.
you don't know. I don't know
I
whether
don't
he has
know.
big muscles, but he's got giant muscles in the picture. Look,
Yeah.
like this one doesn't look. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's probably AI generated,
Mhm.
because the one with the Santa outfit riding the reindeer, I don't think he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, but that's
Mhm.
just me saying. And so, and then I really think it's funny, all the signs in the background of the people, those signs say his name, right?
That is correct. Yes.
So so maybe somebody did this and sent it to him and he thought it was funny and posted it, or maybe he did it himself, maybe a staff member did it. You can make posts like this on AI generated stuff fairly easily. I use paid chat GTP all the time for graphics for Project Next and other things. But you kind of have to have a sense of responsibility with it. And I just like, what are your thoughts when you saw it? I know that you were upset because you're like, why aren't we helping people that are hungry on Christmas? Why aren't we helping children that need services? I get that, but you said you first thought it was not real or a joke, but it's true.
Hmm.
I don't know. Just take me through your process here.
Yeah. So, like I said, my I got the ding at 9 o'clock, and this was posted at 6:43 a.m. on Christmas. And so we had literally in the midst of almost done wrapping gifts. And so, I thought it was a joke. And then as I researched more, it was there. And so in that post, he's talking about overreach, but this is the same individual that was pounding the Senate, doing a speech on the Senate floor and pounding the podium using politics over people. We have to make sure people are first. And instead of taking our cues from Washington, D.C., we have to take our cues from a district like New Washington is in our district. Clarksville is in my district. Jeffersonville, Utica, Henryville, Sellersburg, all of these cities are in the district, and we should be listening to them, as I've been doing for the past couple months, I would say, for more, where they were trying to break up the Indiana Constitution.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is Indiana redistricting. So
Yeah.
this is the hypocrisy that gets me. Chris supported redistricting. Trump coming in and demanding, saying 7 out of 9 congressional seats weren't enough for Republicans. He wanted Indiana to be 9 out of 9. He wanted to redraw the congressional districts. He wanted to take Indianapolis, that it was its own district. Andre Carson has that seat. He's a Democrat, and divide it into 4 and give our district, District 9, a section of Indy, which makes no sense. So he completely supports government bureaucratic overreach. And I guess he just thinks his constituents aren't paying attention and don't realize that, but it was a pretty big story nationally. Like, and did he vote at the end? Was he one of the Republican senators that flipped? Did he vote?
He voted yes for redistricting.
So he voted at the end to redistrict. So this seems very hypocritical to me.
So, and that's the thing too. He voted for this redistricting, and I applaud the Republicans joining the Democrats because
me too. The ones that did, good job.
Yeah, and they listened to their constituents. And what I said earlier, Hoosiers were asking for relief, because that's what's going on. Because we've got to be able to bring the temperature down in these situations and realize what the people are wanting. Mm-hmm. The speech on the floor and this post is not helping the situation. And what I'm hearing is from the people is they want public education fully funded. They want to make sure they can be able to get a good job and put a warm meal on the table. They want to make sure that the police, fire, and EMS is fully supported. That way, in the crisis and emergency, they show up on time and take care of you. And I was talking to a local fire department person. We are hoping that individuals don't have to start doing CPR and they get there in enough time. So we have to have that real conversation. But at the same time, state legislators, Senate, and the representatives pass laws for the local ordinance. So when SB 1 and things came in like that, it kind of cut the city and the counties off at the knees. And now you have these fire and police and EMS situations saying, hey, what are we supposed to do? I want to hire more people to be on the fire, on the fire team and make sure that everything is safe and we can make those runs and get those EMSs out there in time. And there's a whole nother situation with the Jamie Knowles situation in Southern Indiana too.
Oh, you got so much. Okay, let's unpack some of this because you're bringing up some really good stuff, Nick. So I really like what you're saying. You liked the unity. After the redistricting failed, you're like, this is great. Let's come together. We the people, Hoosiers of Indiana, let's put the community first and let's start doing things that benefit us.
Yes.
And this is just more division. You're saying this is more division. This is, putting fires on the flames of the problem we have nationally, the reason we started Project Next to stop the hate, fear, and division destroying our country. And you're saying this is fueling it, and you don't like that. And I agree with you. Mm-hmm. And then you're saying he voted for SB 1. Those of you all listening that don't understand what Senate Bill 1 is, I'll just briefly explain it. I don't understand all the ins and outs of it, but basically it is an extremely painful bill that is hurting every county in Indiana right now. And what it does is it takes away tax dollars from the state that we normally get, that libraries get, that EMS services, that garbage people get, that everybody gets that needs. Normally the states give it to us, and now the county money has to give it to us. But guess what? The state doesn't give the counties extra money to pay for it. So they're having to defund all these basic programs, including public education, libraries, like you said, all these areas. And we're still not we fully don't understand how much this is going to hurt our communities, but it is backfiring on the Republicans who did it. Are you telling me did Chris Garten sponsor SB1? Was he a co-sponsor on it?
That is correct. And
So not
so
that is crazy. So not only did he vote for it, he's one of the people that helped put it on the table to get it passed. So
that is correct. Yes. And so go
every
ahead.
person that
Mhm.
meets Chris Garten, I really recommend asking why he did that, and could he reverse it, because the damage that is going to be done to everybody. We're already seeing it in Harrison County, Nick. We're already the librarians are worried they're going to have to close branches. The schools are like, what are we going to do? We've already been defunded so much. Chris Garten, I believe, has been voting in favor of defunding public schools. So I would ask him, if I were you all, I would ask him, what is he planning on doing to fix SB1, because it is a disaster.
Yes. So SB1 is it's a huge, huge piece of legislation. I believe 200 to 300 pages.
Wow.
So I applaud once again them trying to give relief with property tax relief. You're going to get about $200, $300 in property tax relief, but necessarily what's going to happen here in a couple of years, which kept them safe, is you're going to get a 300% tax increase. And what I mean by that is, earlier I said they cut the cities and the counties off at the legs. And so to recoup that money, what do they have to do? They have an option to increase the local city tax and the county tax as well on you, to recoup that money that's being cut in the state
So they're
legislature.
going to tax county level things higher to pay for SB1, is what you're saying.
That is correct.
So even though we might save a little bit of money on property tax, we're going to make it up on these increased taxes in other areas. So it's not actually going to help Hoosiers.
That is correct. And those don't necessarily kick in until 2027, okay? Which keeps them safe for the election year. So they knew what they were doing going and doing that. So, like I said, the Senate Republicans gave a tax break, right? But they took it from the local governments. So now they're sticking you with the bill for your emergency services, your price increases. They haven't even touched the tolls yet, so they keep going up, taking food off of your table. And now you're also seeing health premiums kick in, Medicaid wait lists that are happening inside the state. It's not adding up for a good quality of life coming in the future. And frankly, it's not good math. And so right now, as we've been saying at the very beginning of this show, Hoosiers are needing relief. They didn't need redistricting. They didn't need more taxes coming on. So this is the situation we have to talk about, is like, we want to prepare you for the things that are coming in the future. And so when those tax increases happen, you know where they came from. And so what I've been challenging and saying is, you have an opportunity in this upcoming legislative session to fix SB1. So let's see if they fix it.
I know. Let's put pressure on them. I'm going to try to use Project Next to help push when they're in session to fix SB1, to shine a light on it. Yeah, and I'm really grateful that you're talking about it. And thank you for running, by the way. It's hard to run. You ran for state senate last time, and that's where I met you. I met you at, I feel like we talked at French Lick.
That is correct. Yes.
That's when I got COVID that night. Remember, I wore the mask. I wore a mask and talked to you, but I took the mask off outside at the French Lick resort, and
Yes.
then I got COVID from most people outside.
Oh no.
It didn't turn out being a good thing, because we needed to get the immunities. It was fine, but anyway, it was funny. So let's talk a little bit about you. I know when we talked at French Lick, you told me that you grew up in the foster care system. Would you mind sharing about your childhood, what you feel comfortable telling us? Because I think this really helps us to see that you're really empathetic and you have a lot of drive to help our children that are suffering. It's not their fault that they were born into a rough lifestyle that all their needs are not being met. So could you just tell us a little bit about your childhood?
Yes. And so, well, my name is Nick Marshall, and I'm running for Indiana State Senate for District 45, which is all of Clark and a little bit of Floyd. And so, about me is I grew up in the foster care system. And if it wasn't for two wonderful sets of foster parents, I wouldn't be the person I am today. One was the Rates family on a 40-acre cattle farm, where the farmer put a shovel in my hand and taught me what true work, hard work is by working on a 40-acre cattle farm. His
Oh,
wife was a teacher who knew what education can truly do for someone, and championed me to hang on to my education and to tackle things like that. And she even held me when I was 12, when I had heart surgery. And
oh
so,
wow.
yes. And so then there was when I was 17, I moved to Louisville, Kentucky with the Crawford family. At the age of 17, the husband was a military veteran. He said yes to me after serving our country. And so I thank him every day for that, because he showed me what true respect for our country is and how to earn it. His wife was a caregiver, and she took that title to heart. In order to care, you have to give. And she gave everything to get me across. They gave everything to get me across the finish line. I was the first in my family to graduate from college from the University of Louisville with a communications degree. I am the father of two wonderful children, Evelyn and Sebastian.
No, and they're
And
so adorable. I love
thank
your
you.
Facebook posts of them and
And
your
then
beautiful wife.
Thank you. And me and my wife have been married going on. We're getting ready to hit year 10 in
Oh,
2026. So,
congratulations.
so if it wasn't for them, and I thank the man upstairs every day for them, but if it wasn't for those foster parents, I wouldn't be the person I am, defying the odds, graduating from college, and able to put my name on the ballot. And what I want to do for this district is make sure that education is fully funded. We tackle the affordability issue that we can help with everyday Hoosiers, including taking care of daycares, and make sure that our streets and every community is safe by supporting fire, EMS, and also police as well. So those are the things I want to do, and we can dive a little bit more into the social service system, because I've lived it and researched it as well.
Yeah, that yeah, just shout out to all of the foster parents doing that hard work, loving these children and taking care of them through whatever they've been through. I'm so glad that you had two great sets of them. That's really a beautiful story. I can tell that they shaped your future and who you are. But it also sits with you. I feel like I feel like you feel it more than the
Mhm.
average person, what it's like to struggle, or to maybe not feel like you belong somewhere and to find home.
Mhm.
Do you know Josh Lowry?
Yes, I was literally about to say shout out to Josh Lauer and his wife
Yeah.
for
So
adopting
Josh
too in
Lowry
Hamilton
ran
County.
for state house last time, and now he's Democratic chair of, is it
Hamilton County.
Hamilton County? Yeah.
Yes.
And he's, I think, foster to, I believe, 5 children.
Yes, and adopted.
Yeah, so he started out foster and then adopted. And just shout out to people like Josh Lowry that are doing that work. And I had him on the show, and I thought it was a really beautiful story. And it's interesting to hear you had a similar, and you're an adult running, and he is an adult doing this work. So if somebody is interested in fostering, how would one do that? Do you just like go on a Indiana website? What do you do?
So I've done some kind of training sessions, and so with my church, and so there's informationals not only in the community but also due to social services networks that you can get information on. And then what we kind of did with our church is say, hey, if you want to be a foster parent, let us tell you about it. Let's tell you a success story. And also, let's be honest, there's some things, some emotional things that have happened to these children that we want to prepare you for. And so I've talked to future foster parents about this situation, as well as told stories from a state level to a local level to individuals. And so once they get that first introduction, then you'll go to classes. Then you'll have a home study, which is done. They'll make sure your home is safe and for you to have children there. And then you will have a foster child there once you get certified to be a foster parent. And so you have to take those steps to do it. And so that's one of the things when I get to the state house, I want to be on that committee for family services.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
so what we have to do is look at as not only prevention, intervention, and then also downstream to catch these individuals, restoring them. Okay.
Mhm.
Like those foster parents did with me, they restored me and made a success story because only 1 to 3%, um, only 1 to 3, sometimes a little bit, it's a little higher side, maybe 10%. It depends on which state. Individuals like me go to college
Oh,
and
wow.
graduate. So
Yeah.
think about that. You have the ability to make sure that it goes higher than 3%.
So
And
you
I
would like
love
to
this.
help
Yeah,
with that. You would like to help with that rate increase tremendously if
yes.
possible. So
And
just for
go ahead.
everybody to realize, taking foster children and investing in them early on, giving them the things that they need to succeed in life early on, ends up costing taxpayers less in the long run, because then they're not in some type of program where they need government assistance. They're not maybe in jail, or trying to beat some type of substance abuse problem. If you give them what they need early on, they become wonderful members of society like you, Nick, and then that ends up helping. So not only is it cheaper, but ends up helping our communities, making our communities safer. There's
Mhm.
so much what I get really frustrated with, the amount of like bullying and gaslighting from people in power, where they act like, it's their fault and you should put on your bootstraps and work harder.
Mhm.
It's like, these are children, and
Mhm.
it is not their fault that they were born into circumstances where they need help. So I think we can all acknowledge there's no bootstraps thing going on with children, that we
Yes.
should help them. And I just get frustrated when our government acts like it's not their responsibility to help. It doesn't have to be, but it
Mhm.
ends up costing us more in the long run, and it makes our neighborhoods not as safe. And it is the humane thing to do. Like,
Yes.
so there's just all the research, all the scientific evidence, all the government data backs it helps Indiana if we support children that need help.
Yes. And so I want to take that a little bit further.
Sure.
If let's talk about what we just talked about earlier in the show, that people are hurting financially and
Yes.
also emotionally. So if this is a preventable measure right here, if we
Yes.
support a family that they find a good job and they're able to put food on the table and they're able to get that transportation, if we can get that, that prevents kids from going into care. So if we boost our communities,
Yep.
that prevents that. But that's the prevention part, the intervention, which you're talking about too. Here's what we have to do as a state legislator. On that committee, what we can do is social workers, we can give them a raise, and that's through appropriations as well to make sure that they get because they do a lot of hard work and their
Yeah, and the
caseload.
social workers do not get paid.
Yes,
I don't think
it's
they don't
just
get paid
like
enough.
teachers, just like
Yeah.
teachers. And so the other part is if we're able to increase those wages, we'll have more social workers coming on, which will
It
lighten
will
their
have
loads.
like really
Yeah,
good quality, because
yes,
not everybody that wants to be a social worker can afford to pick that job.
yes. And so
Right.
if you reduce that caseload, that takes less burnout and stress on them, and then they can give that quality of care, like you said, to that child. And there's certain things we can set up for them to be successful too. The other part, I believe there's a recent legislation, I can't think of the number, but what it talks about is anyone that enters care, they're now giving 12 months before they terminate rights. Okay, depending on the situation. And some of the individuals I've talked to, state representatives as well as state senators, they've got to relook at this. And also talking to Casas and Floyd and Clark County, they want this to maybe possibly lengthen out because
What's CASAS? What is that?
CASA is court appointed specialists,
Oh, okay,
advocate.
thanks.
Okay. And so they take children who are foster care involved, and they're kind of like set there with the judge and have it, they tell the CASA worker what they would like to do or something on, and that helps them a lot. It has someone advocating for them right there. So the situation is they want that time frame to be stretched out a little bit longer, because if you have a parent that is trying to get housing, if you have a parent that is trying to battle substance abuse, it takes longer than 12 months to tackle those things. Um,
Mhm.
and so if we gave families more time to put the pieces together to make a good home, we don't have to terminate rights where they end up in care. So I think that's something that I've really heard in the district too. Once again, I'm listening. I spoke to the CASA rep in a night out event in one of our communities, and they said, this is what's going on. And then also Representative Dan Chesser gave me the legislation and I read over it, and I said, there's some good things in here, but it needs to be fixed to make sure it's effectively good. So
you're talking about Wendy Danchesser.
Yes.
She is our state house rep in your area. She's been on the show. She was like recognized a special award for being such a good state house rep for her first time. Like,
Yes.
I'm really proud of her. So that's awesome that you were able to talk to her and look at the legislation and see how it could be better. Yeah. I'm frustrated because I'm running for state house, and I know I'm friends with Wendy. And I'm friends with some other ones. And to find out what it's actually like in that state house when they're in the state Senate, when they're getting these giant bills, these hundreds of pages of bills, it's not like every representative is going through and fine-tune cone reading them and looking for things that could make it better and working really hard. It's all happening too fast. And it's a lot of, we just do as we're told. That's what I'm seeing. You know, the Republicans, somebody says, we're voting yes on this. Okay. They show up to work. They don't read the bill. They can't tell you anything about it other than the main sentence, and they vote yes. Or they say, we're voting no on this. And they're like, okay. I'm so frustrated now that I understand how this works in Indiana, how laws are made, that's how we're doing things. And to hear you already, even though you haven't been elected yet, working to help make the legislation better for those that need it the most is really heartwarming to me. And that's what I want to see more of through the whole state. How do we get people like you elected, and how do we encourage people to do that? And also, why can't we change the laws so that we have more time? And can't we pass bills that aren't hundreds of pages and are more clear cut? Like, I mean, it's like, we're the people. Can't we govern better? I'm frustrated at the whole system, you know?
So let me say this. With my current work, I've got to really look at legislation. And so with being an education advocate, and so the situation is I've got to look at, okay, this law, how it affects individuals in education, this situation, how it affects. And so throughout time, that's what I've been learning. And so once you figure out like the nuts and bolts and how things go down, you're like, okay, hang on, you're right. How do we slow this down? Instead of a big piece gets dumped on your desk, about 300 pages, and you're like, okay, tell me the good and the bad. So here's what we can do. Okay. So at this time, the Senate and the what's the name? The Senate and the state representatives and the state senators, Democrats are in the super minority, which means they cannot slow any of these legislations down. They can speak up. You can go to speak on the floor about this situation, but just like redistricting, the people have to show up and speak against it. And so once you start doing that, you can slow roll this stuff, but sometimes it will get passed. And they have the trifecta too, which is a Republican governor. So,
and the governor in this last session, he passed every single piece of legislation that the Republicans brought to him. He didn't say no to any of them. So it's like we didn't even have a governor. He did nothing other than do whatever the state Senate and the state House Republicans wanted. Even passed a very unpopular bill that made school board elections partisan. A lot of Republicans voted against that. He could have easily said no to that one, and he passed it. So I'm frustrated at that too. So you're saying there's limited things Democrats can do because in Indiana, it's so heavily Republican right now. But we have an election coming up.
Yes.
If we can get you elected, if we can get just a few Democrats in to stop the supermajority, wouldn't that change the way things are happening right now?
It would. And so I want to say also, don't forget, we're lucky in our district that we do have Democrats that are fighting and helping. We have Dr. Treva Hodges over in Charlestown, who's the mayor, two-term mayor.
My favorite mayor. She's amazing.
She is out there and she fights for her town. We just got in 2023, we flipped the Jeffersonville City Council to Democratic. And so they've been fighting, but also with SB1, their hands are tied with trying to do a fire territory with Utica and Jeffersonville, but that got dissolved due to Senate Bill 1. We have a majority in Clarksville, New Albany, and then also Mayor Gahan over in New Albany too as well. So these are Democrats that are delivering and telling the state legislators, hey, hold up, you're doing something that is harming our community. So if you elect me, I will be at the State House and say, yo, this is bad legislation. Or also, even like this is something me and the Republicans agree on. We want to make sure that foster children are taken care of. So I will reach across that aisle.
That's what I was going to say. So you'll actually talk to Republicans and work with them to pass legislation, because we're going to have to. If we're going to make things better in Indiana, we're going to have to work with people that vote differently than us. So I really love that you're willing to do that. Knowing you personally as a friend, I can guarantee you are brave enough and smart enough and determined enough to actually do that. Whereas not every Democrat would I say that about. So I just want to point that out. You're a safe person. You're not going to go and yell at the Republicans because they're Republicans. You're going to go and say, hey, let's put kids first. Let's put our political parties and the national stupid stuff aside, and let's focus on children.
Yes. And in our communities. And so I wanted to say this earlier too. What I've learned from Senator Yoder, Senator Hundley, Senator Rodney Poole, Wendy Danchester, State Representative Danchester, and as well as I'll speak to Ed Clare as well. He's shown his face in our district before too.
I'm going to invite him on Project Next, Ed Clare. So
let me say this. What they say is 95% of the time they agree upon stuff. And it's the 5% is the big issues that we hear about that we go up to the State House and try to champion that they disagree upon. So just like this post and just like the redistricting effort, that was one of those 5%. And so when I'd say let's lower the temperature and let's get things that's going to deliver to the communities on the daycare issue, because they are closing down. And if you can't go take your child to a daycare, you've got to give up your job. And there are people in the community that are hurting, that are waiting. These are nice cars in food pantry lines. And so that should tell you something. The middle class is being pinched.
Yep.
And when you see your healthcare premiums are about to skyrocket it here in a couple of days due to inaction with Congress, and you have a wait list for Medicaid with the state and a Medicaid shortfall.
I just did a show about this with hospitals, Nick.
Yeah.
Whenever the new bill comes out in 2027, it's estimated to knock off 10 million people, their health insurance, Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is going to affect areas that rely on Medicare and Medicaid. Not as many people that get it will be able to get it. They won't be able to re-enroll. They will lose their health insurance, and it's going to lead to more hospitals closing, possibly our hospital in Harrison County, which is the only hospital in our county, and the one in Corden. So what you're saying, it's already happening. The suffering you're talking about, I live in Palmyra, and it is a relatively poor community, and I see people struggling, neighbors, people I love, my children's friends and their families struggling, and my heart hurts, and I'm angry about it because I know enough about Indiana and about state law, and that I know this is preventable.
Yes.
And that's what and I imagine you are also.
Yeah. And that's the thing frustrated. Too. I'm not frustrated. I'm focused. And so that's a situation. When I get frustrated, I had someone say, Nick, I've never seen you mad before. I said, I don't get mad. I get focused. And when I get focused, you have a problem. Okay. And so let me say that. And I focus in on the people. And when the Jeffersonville and Utica wanted to put a fire territory in to help save lives due to the situation that they don't have fire EMS in Utica, and the run times are going up due to other situations happening. But SB1 came down.
Right.
And so the community was hurt. But you know what the community did? We've got to fix this problem. So now they have a volunteer fire station in Utica now because of this. And I think it actually goes live tomorrow on 2026, January 1st of 2026. And so these are everyday Hoosiers working 8 hours and then going to a volunteer fire station and putting in 6 more hours for their community, right? Because we couldn't put a territory together. These are the things that we can do as a state legislator to help our communities and help individuals. And it is great the volunteer firefighters are doing that, but they shouldn't have to do that. They should be on another station helping other firefighters with situations that we just had too, with Cluckers burning down in downtown Jeffersonville, and
No.
provided everybody is okay. But look at there, instead of them going to Utica, they could be helping on that situation too. And so we have to start thinking about the things the communities are really hurting, and listening to the community, listen to the community too. And that's what I've been doing for ever since the session ended April 29th, the budgeting session. I got on the phone and I start talking to the people in the community, showing up in the community. You can actually say I never stopped running after 2022. I just got back in there, start talking to people, start helping the party. Where can I help? What's going wrong? How can I help? That's all I ask people.
And as somebody who lives in an area close to your community, I have seen you do that, and I'm very impressed, and I'm very thankful. You don't get paid to run a campaign. You this is time away from your family. You know, you're putting in extra hours plus you work. I'm just very thankful that you're doing it, but I know it's hard. But we all are going to have to kind of do a little bit more in this state to fix our massive problems. We're at the bottom of lists we want to be at the top at. We're at the top of lists that we want to be at the bottom of in Indiana as it ranks. Like, we're one of the worst for voting. I mean, we're really bad with like pollution, public school funding. We've got people are just like trying to pump data centers in everybody's communities, and that's so bad for us.
And one thing is too, the infant mortality rate.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And we're starting to see where we rank there. And all these other things we don't have to be at the bottom of, and we don't have to be the worst.
It's so preventable.
It's Nick, so preventable.
I used to be a teacher, and I taught for 18 years, and I started in 2003. And when I started, Indiana had one of the best public education systems in the country. We had one of the best sets of standards. We'd been voted the best set of standards out of all the states. We were publicly funding. We were funding special education. We had all these extra teachers and resources. And ever since that, every year things would get cut. A little cut here, a little cut there, a little cut. And now our schools are hanging on by Band-Aids. So that wasn't that long ago, everybody. That's why I'm saying that. I know that Indiana is not doing great now. We elect better leaders. We work together with Republicans, and we pass legislation that actually helps us in just a few years. Indiana is going to start doing better. Also, Secretary of State's on the ballot. I'm going to have Bo Bai on the show next week, who's running for Secretary of State. I've had Blythe Potter, who's running for Secretary of State. That if we could elect either of them as Secretary of State, that could fix a lot of our problems, because they could make voting easier instead of what they're doing right now, which is making it harder and harder and harder to vote. So, yeah, I just want everybody to realize, have hope. You know what gave me a lot of hope? The redistricting thing. It was really amazing that we stopped redistricting. Weren't you pretty like hopeful when that happened?
Yes, I was pumped, and I was like, there's something different in the air going on right now. And not only we saw it from all the elections in 2025, but also with this. And Hoosiers was like, okay, we can do better. We can do better. And so, and as we start to elect people and the changes start to incrementally go up, you're going to provide a better quality of life, a better job, and a better opportunity, not only for children, but for families. And so, and, you know, education is one of the key things to my heart. And thank you for being a teacher as well, because I'm in a little bit of that field right now. And so what we have to do is fully fund public education. Teachers have a class of 30, and those teachers have maybe 20 to 10 of those students have IEPs, 504 plans, behavioral plans. And so they can't keep track of it all, but they had that assistant in the room to help them. That would be
If we
so
could
much
get
better.
even just a
Mhm.
fraction of what we had when I started teaching. I don't
Yes.
know how public school teachers do it now. I'm
Mhm.
friends with some of them. They're working so hard. And also our like local government, our state government seems to try to do this bullying thing where they act like the teachers are the problem. Like we're not like culturally supporting our public school teachers, and that really is frustrating to me because teachers are amazing
Mhm.
and they don't get paid enough, and it's really hard in our state, and like they can't even go on strike anymore. Our unions have been weakened. There's a lot of problems. And if we just started giving them support, it would be incredible. My three kids go to public schools and they're all learning and they're all doing well. And I am shocked and happily surprised at how well they're doing despite all the defunding. And it's because the people in those buildings are
They
working
care.
so hard. They care so
Yes.
much
Mhm.
about these children that even though they're being hurt at the state level, they just keep doing it. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, if we supported them, they would thrive even more. And
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, it just seems like you get that and you understand. I want to talk. We've got somebody that said this, that is funny. Sounds to me Indiana would be better off voting Republicans. Just want to point out right now, Indiana is super majority Republican
Mhm.
over 20 years, and they are defunding public education. We're at the bottom of lists we should be at the top at. We're at the top of lists we should be at the bottom at. So right now, this super majority of Republicans are not meeting Hoosiers' needs.
Mhm.
It's proven. We can just look at the data. So I'm not saying that in every instance voting Democrat is the right way to go. In our state, we need competition. We
Mhm.
have to get competition. When it's one party super majority, bullies kind of take over and run the show. And we've got to get it to where the people of the state are being listened to. And right
Mhm.
now we're not, because the majority of our kids attend public school. So
Yes.
clearly the majority of Hoosiers want our public schools funded, yet that's not happening.
Yes.
And
And so, and that's the thing too. Um, I'll speak to the comment. Let me do this. So I went in, like I said, I'm a champion of public education and I work with the public school system too, and I've learned how to navigate it. But this is the situation we're talking about in regards to that comment. So I went to the Lions Club breakfast on November 1st and ate my breakfast. And I went up to every table and I said, "Hi, my name is Nick Marshall. I'm running for the opportunity to be your state senator. How can I help and what's going on?" And so literally they started to talk to me and they said, "This is what's going on, X, Y, and Z. If you can help with this and this." And every one of them at the end of our conversation, I said, "Thank you very much. I'll be back and I've heard what you said. So I'm going to do that." And they stopped me and they go, "Wait, what party are you with?" And I said, "Well, I'm a Democrat." I said, "Well, they said, we're all Republicans." I said, "That's the thing. I came up and talked to you. If I'm going to earn your vote and your respect, I've got to come talk to you and be civil." And there was one table, we talked about some sensitive issues. I got down on one knee. He said, "I just want to truly thank you for just talking to me." And that's what we've got to do in our communities is go out there, lower the temperature,
Yep.
ask what they
Calm
ask,
down, everybody.
calm down. How can I help and what's going on? All right. And then what's really crazy is this is something I learned from my job too. You follow up with a solution, right? And so have you talked to your mayor? Have you talked to your city council person? Well, if you don't have that, here's their contact information. Also, here's our state rep, here's our state senator. I'm applying to be your state senator, but hey, this is where you need to go for this. And they're like, "Oh, he's actually like putting his money where his mouth is." And once again, how can I help and what can we do? And that's what we have to get back to. And like I said, something's different going on right now. And I feel it in the air, not only
Me
from
too.
25, but going in
Me too.
26 as well.
I feel people tired of the division.
Mm-hmm.
I feel people sick of the national hatred of each other's side, when really the majority of us are good human beings, regardless of who we vote for or if we vote. We want very similar things for our families.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing it too. And I'm really hopeful. And I hope that everybody can just calm it down on you have to vote R, you have to vote D, you have to vote this because that's your party. This is not sports. This is real life.
Mm-hmm.
Real people get hurt by these laws being passed in Indiana right now. We showed with stopping redistricting that we are organizing, we are working, we are shining a light on their bad decisions, and it is starting to have a positive effect. So I'm really hopeful. I'm really hopeful for your race. I think you have a very good chance of winning. I'm really glad you're running. I'm extremely impressed with how much you know the legislation and you know how to fix things. And I hope that you get elected, and then I hope that a bunch of people in the Senate listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
hope they listen to your wisdom of, listen, this is how it works. And I have a lot of faith that you can do that because you are who you are. You have a good personality and drive for this. So,
Mm-hmm.
boy, I'm just really thankful that you came on today. Before we get off, how can people support you? How can they find you? How can they support your race?
Yes. And so what I want to say is that, yes, how you can support the race is you can go to HoosiersForNickMarshall.com, where you can sign up to volunteer and also donate. And every donation and every hour that you phone bake, send the postcard, or just talk to your neighbor helps us flip this district in 2026. And so what we will really do is we can defy the odds with this district. Indiana's one.
HoosiersForNickMarshall.com.
HoosiersForNickMarshall.com. Indiana's is one of the first states that get called in 2026 in elections. So let's be that beacon of hope for everybody in America that, hey, there's something in the air, and let's start it off with Indiana. And once again, go to HoosiersForNickMarshall.com, donate, volunteer, because wouldn't it be great if we took the minority leader off the floor and you put somebody that's going to fight for you and make sure that public education is fully funded. We're going to make sure that every one of your streets is safe, and to make sure that we tackle the affordability issue and put money back into the Hoosiers' pockets where it belongs.
If you're in the Clark County, Floyd area, you can go to events and meet Nick. He goes to a lot of events. You are out there in the community. So if you want to meet him, please do so. He will talk to you. You're also on Facebook. You can look up, you have a campaign Facebook, correct?
That is correct, yes.
You know, a really easy way people can help that are on Facebook is they can go to your Facebook page and they can invite their friends to follow you. And that really helps a lot. Yeah, so you're on social media, you have a website, you can donate, you have an Act Blue, right? You can
That is
donate
correct
under
as
Act
well.
Blue. Yes.
Click
And
that
then,
donate button.
you know what is so helpful is you tell everybody that you're friends with in your area about Nick Marshall. That's so beneficial. That's better than $10. I mean, $10 helps too, but you actually saying, hey, are you voting this primary, May 5th? Vote for Nick Marshall, take a Democrat ticket and vote for him. That vote helps to show people are more motivated to vote in Indiana, than before. We really didn't, the Democrats did not turn out in the last election, but the Republicans did. And it was sort of devastating. I think in this next November, it's going to be Hoosiers voting together. It's going to be more of that and less divisive crap I'm so sick of.
Yes.
So, thanks for running. Thank you for coming on. Feel free to come on more often, especially if we're ever at an event together. We should do a live little show together. That'd be fun. I'm just really thankful. I know that you're friends with Ethan Sweetland May. He's running for state senate next to you.
That is correct.
He's who I will get to vote for. And so that's fun that you guys are in events together. Is there somebody else? Oh, who's the Byron Holland?
Byron Holland, yes.
Byron Holland is the other one. So those are the three in my big area. Just so you guys know, there's 50 state senators and they run every 4 years.
That is correct.
And I'm running for state house, which there's 100 of, and mine are up every 2 years.
Yes.
So that's how the state senate and the state house are different. And you ran last time when I was running for county council.
Yes.
So we've both been doing this for a little while.
Yes. And two things. People, like, I've been calling people, like I said, for months, and this happened last time I ran too. It's like, you're the first candidate that's came to my house or the first candidate that's called me. I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. How can I help? And what's going on? And so when you start to get out there, and I never stopped running since 2022. I helped in 23, helped in 24. We got the city council president, who is now the city council president, elected in 23. We got Wendy
Who is
Danchester,
that? Who are you talking about?
Evan Stoner.
Oh yeah, I want to have him on the show. He's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we got Wendy Danchester, who replaced Dr. Fleming. She won by 1,000 votes
Wow.
in 2024. And I helped on all those campaigns. I just never stopped. And I'm never going to stop fighting for Hoosiers who need relief. And I just want to say thank you for having me on tonight. And good luck in your race as well.
Thanks. Yeah.
And also, if you ever need to remember the state Senate candidates that are in your area, it's remember Ben, Byron, Ethan, and Nick. There you go.
I like that, Ben. That's cute. Yeah, if I ever got elected and you got elected, you betcha I would work with you because you understand the legislation so well, better than I do. So that's really impressive. Yeah.
But also, I've got to learn a lot too. When I get up to the state house, I've got to learn.
I would just learn a ton and ask experts and like talk to all my friends that I've met, like in Citizens Action Coalition, for example. I know those people. I would work with them to help get better laws passed to help our energy bills and stuff, you know. So it's a lot of like working with the experts that know what they're talking about quickly to pass better legislation, because right now that is not happening.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, you have a wonderful New Year's Eve. Are you doing anything? Do you stay up?
No, we're going to do the early New Year's with the kids. And then I've been on the talking circuit. So we're going to get a little rest, and then we'll wake up tomorrow into the new year, and I'll go at it again. I'll start making phone calls, and I'll start connecting with people. They probably ask, when do you rest? I do rest.
I don't think you rest as much as the rest of us, but yeah, you remind me of Tim Peck. Tim makes a lot of calls, and like right now he barely has a voice, so he's struggling, and I'm like, oh, it's so hard. Yeah. So good luck with all the calls. Thanks for doing that. And like I can't remember how many people. I think it's like 67,000 votes and voters in my district. So yours is about twice that, right?
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Yeah. So that's a lot of voters. You can't possibly meet every single one of them, but you are doing your part to meet as many as you can. And if someone reaches out to you, you will reach back, which I think is fantastic. And we don't have that. A lot of our elected officials, like the one I'm up against, Karen Engelman, she won't respond to you. She won't respond to me. She doesn't respond to people when they message her. And you know, Gary Byrne, state senator, he doesn't get back to people when they say, hey, we don't want you to vote for redistricting, you know. So the fact that you're already getting back to people, that's what you're supposed to do as an elected official.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen and learn.
Yeah. So thanks. Hopefully I'll have you on again. And I just hope you have a wonderful new year and just so much love to your beautiful family.
Oh, thank you very much. And you all have a happy new year too, and stay safe. And I'll see you in 2026.
Yes. Stay safe, everybody. Stay safe. Drive safe. Yes. Bye, everybody. Bye, you guys. Happy New Year.